and he did this little dance. Like, I've been talking with these, you know, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas. Speculate. We're gonna have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh, show it to him, Jamie.
Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out of California. Like, I think like 69% of fire insurance pulled out of California.
I remember when we had a fire when Trump was president, and he came in and he said, "You don't rake. You're not raking." And we all did jokes about it. But, you know, we got to get over this thing. Is he wrong usually? Yeah. No. Yeah. Just because Trump says it doesn't mean it's automatically wrong. Did he have a point about that we don't?
Of course he did.
Okay.
Of course he did.
Yes, you can clearly see Maher is admitting that Trump was right or true. These are people who spend the whole time criticizing him every day, making a mockery of some things he says. But now he's acknowledging what we all know. Trump made it clear, like, this is preventable. But at the same time, these people didn't take that serious. When you take a look at this tweet, Maher admitted Trump was right about forest management and prevention of fires. Maher, remember when he had a fire when Trump was president, he came and he said, "You don't rig." We all did jokes about it. I don't want to go into all this. You know, this clearly tells you the mindset these people have. At a certain point, when Trump says something, they don't take serious until it happens. Like what is happening now, you saw at the beginning of the video where Joe Rogan is putting out, like, if Gavin Newsom could actually talk with these Maui people and align with the governor about lands, maybe he's thinking to do the same thing. I did a couple of videos partaking to Gavin Newsom actually saying something like this. At a certain point, a lot of people don't believe that this can happen. It is important. I show you.
They want to move back to the Palisades. Are they considering moving elsewhere? Do they?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Look, this is hard to say. I strongly believe that 50% of the people who lived in the Palisades are not going to be moving back to the Palisades.
Why?
Yeah, and honestly, that number wasn't as big last week in my mind, but after the phone calls that I've been getting, people who are moving to Brentwood, Santa Monica, Bel Air, Beverly Hills, those are going to be the markets that are going to go up because people want to be as close to normalcy as possible.
Yeah.
And those are those towns right around the Palisades.
Yeah.
Those are going to go up, that market. That's where they're going to move. It's going to be too long. You got to realize Palisades is the all-American town, right?
Yeah.
The families are running around. It's like what you picture towns in movies that we used to watch.
Yeah.
These kids that are 5 years old right now that live in the Palisades and go to school, there's a chance that if things don't move fast, it could be 4 to 5 years before they're back there. These kids are now 10. They're going to different schools,
right,
different lives now, you know. So it's tough because picture you living on a street. You're the first house finished, and every other house on the street is in construction.
Yeah.
Think about that. You don't want to do that. You want to wake up every single morning and be reminded of that.
Right, it's traumatic.
I'm negotiating almost a dozen deals right now on land in the Palisades, much faster than I ever thought I would be doing. People are already trying to sell their dirt, knowing that they're not going to go back there, to home builders that will then build their house and either keep it or sell it.
So because obviously some people with the Visibly fire, this could be their second time rebuilding with Malibu and stuff like that.
It's just hard.
Who's going to move to the Palisades, or are we going to see that city kind of
The calls
end?
that I've got have been across the board of I'm 70 years old. I just evacuated for my last time. I'm out.
Where,
I'm never going back.
Where are they going?
Okay, that was the Palisades. So they're either going locally or because of, they're fed up with the regulations and government, they're out.
California.
California, and if they're not and they're out of LA, they're going down to Newport Beach.
Oh,
yeah, I'm getting a huge amount of calls from people who want to move down to Orange County.
Really?
Yeah. Majority of the people, unfortunately, because I've been on the phone with my insurance agent for hours every day.
Yeah.
Majority of the people were heavily uninsured. And that's an issue. And that's why they're not going to go back to the Palisades.
Yeah.
Because in order to recreate the house that they lived in, their dream house, they're not going to be able to afford it. And that's just a horrible thing.
Yes, I believe you heard him. Celebrity reactor George Ortman says he thinks 50% of people who live in the Palisades will not move back. Say many will leave the state or move to Orange County. What will happen to their land? That is a question. Now, developers are coming, and that just linked me to what Joe Rogan said at the beginning of this video. Sometimes I don't want to say things I know less.
I've been trying to get Gavin to run for president for a very long time. And
are you serious? Are we living in Gavin Newsom's California? Why?
Yeah, and I'm sure your life is just a nightmare.
I left because of him.
Oh, right, you're
moved to Miami.
So, you know what? I'll tell you something.
Lived here my whole life.
In 2020, I've lived here since '83.
Oh, there is an opportunity now for a political shift in California, and you've already been seeing it.
Happening a little bit already. You saw it in this last November election with LA District Attorney Gasp losing to Nathan Hochman, who was an assistant attorney general under George W. Bush. You've already seen where progressive policies are being pushed away in California. In 2020, House Republicans, California and New York are considered the majority makers in the House of Representatives. It's where you pick up those seats to get you into the speakership. California in 2020 really helped lead the charge of turning seats to Republicans to bring in a House Republican majority. 22, we slipped a little. 24, they've been able to stay competitive in some of these races like David Valadao. But if you look at a state like California purely politically, you're looking at like a 45% Democrat registration, about a 24% Republican registration, and about a 21% no party registration. You have about an 84% registration rate in the state. Because of the political realignment that you've seen in the United States over the last decade, Democrats have become the higher propensity turnout voter. What does that mean? It means that in an off-cycle year, your non-presidentials, your midterm years, your special elections, your recall elections, where it's not a learned pattern of behavior. Most people, if they vote, they'll generally vote one of four. They'll vote in a presidential election, right? These people are more hardwired to vote regularly now. So you're already at a registration deficit of nearly 2-to-1 with Republicans. Even if you add in the non-registered folks, you're going to see that that's almost identical to Democrat registration in the state. Getting out a low propensity voter gives you generally in the national election with Donald Trump. That was the shift you saw.
Yes, believe me, you cannot argue this. What she said here is just on point. Yeah, there is a political shift. Just imagine how many people would change their minds to a Democrat after this. But some will still go in line and fall the victim. She support them. Same thing will continue to happen. Like I've been emphasizing every single day, calling out Gavin Newsom for who he is. If you have not been following me, you will realize that I follow this up till date. And I will make sure to update you to the least information I have pertaining to what is going on in LA.
Looks like, unfortunately Gaza or one of these war-torn countries where awful things have happened. So, and there are fires now breaking out everywhere. So it feels totally bizarre to be talking about a movie.
I'll be laying out a plan for how we recover.
And sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Thank you guys who always been there sharing on my videos. I don't like to make the videos long. Reason I always cut it at this point for
future president and his gag
are a function of their flawed morality and policy.
The problem with California is forestry management.
We're triggering total collapse.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane. started getting texts.
So I am evacuating my home.
What we need to do against what we know is right, and these are the results.
Trump is now calling that Gavin Newsom should step down.
This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds.
The situation is beyond control. I'll be updating you, giving you more information to what I'm observing on social media. I didn't want to report this, but people keep sending this to me. God bless you.
Health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
What do we do?
Right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
As a country about
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel.
I want to
Jim Jordan.
in the 5 tenants of
Palisades Village right here. This is the town center of sorts.